next style guideline. Each new block of code should be indented 2 statements. Well, what is a block of code? Well, hopefully you remember a block of code starts with the curly brace and ends with the curly brace. So let's see if we can find a curly brace in here. Oh, here's my first curly brace. So here's the start, and then where's my next one? Oh, right here, here's my end. So I'm saying every time you have to have 2, and exactly 2. No other variations on that, and this becomes very important when multiple users are editing the same files of code. If they have different indentations, it gets very confusing. Okay, so these are all indented by 2. You maybe notice that I do that out of habit, and maybe you've already started copying that habit, but if you haven't, now is the time to do so. Okay, so here's the next. Open is here, and the close is here, and is it indented 2? Yes, it is. Okay, there's no open block here, so it can be all the way to the left. Okay. Oh, here is an open. And where's the close? Oh, there's the close. So everything in here should be indented 2, and it's not. So I'm going to start adding those. Okay, so now I have my indentations. Now this video is using 2 spaces, and because Khan Academy actually helps you put in 4 spaces, we're going to change our programming standard for this semester to be 4 spaces. So the idea with programming guidelines is that we do it consistently, so it doesn't really matter that we're switching from 2 to 4. What matters is that we all switch and use 4. What's our next style guideline? Constants should be named in all caps with underscores between word changes. Do we even know what constants are yet? A constant is a special name for a variable that cannot change. So for example, pi is never anything other than 3.14, so we could store that in a constant. What's something constant in Khan Academy? Well, how about the canvas size? It's always 400 by 400, right? So let's create some constants for that. Let's say const canvas width, and let's assign that the value of 400. Const is a relatively new keyword, and not all JavaScript supports it yet. Sometimes we have to go back to using var, and that's another reason why the style guideline is so important. This canvas width, we can tell it's meant to be a constant and shouldn't be reassigned a value because we've made it all capital and then separated the word changes with an underscore. So we can create these 2 constants, and that might be helpful to use those constants here. So instead of saying generate a random number between 20 and 380, well, what does 380 mean? Well, if we instead use our constant, we could say generate an x from 20 to the canvas width minus 10, or let's go back to 20. I meant to type 20. X position is going to be somewhere between 20 here and 20 from the max. And that's a little easier to read than 380 because we have to remember that the canvas width is 380. So let's say we were going to port this program to HTML and we made a canvas by 600 by 600. Well, by putting a constant in there for the canvas width, we could set the constant at the beginning of the program, and then it would use the entire canvas because we're referring to our constants rather than directly the 400. So let's use the canvas height, and let's subtract 20 from that too, so it gives a little buffer, keeps our. So when you use a constant, it should be all uppercase with underscores between them.